BVTV, Top Gun Sales and Marketing Show, we aim to avoid bringing you yet another type of guest. You know, the type of guest who just wants a platform to talk all about themselves. We see guests that have something to say that will inspire you, help you, improve you. Usually our chosen guest has sensibly thought about you, not themselves in what they're offering. They have thought how they can help you. My guest today has done exactly that. Her firm, Beyond the Cause, helps overwhelmed business owners and burnt-out non-profit directors to achieve success and freedom through the power of what she calls absolute marketing. Welcome, Elizabeth Pampalone.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I wish we were with you, though. You're in Florida. It's nice and warm. It's cold here in England, but never mind. I'm sure we'll warm us all up in a moment. Elizabeth, I'm intrigued with your absolute marketing system. What is it, and what are its 5 pillars?
So a few years ago, I was running several businesses and I was just having a hard time keeping up with everything. And so I developed some strategies for myself. And I thought, you know what? I bet a lot of other people could use this as well. So I ended up sharing it with my clients and they've seen a lot of great success from that. So absolute marketing is 5 days that you complete every single year. And it completes all of your marketing for the entire year in just those 5 days. So then you don't have to keep posting on social media. All of that is done for you in the 5 days. And the 5 days consist of branding. So we really work on that message, getting that visual correct. The second day is your website, making sure that your website is really clear. It explains what you do, and it has a lot of good visuals and graphics on it as well, so that people feel like they're, at home when they visit your website. The third day is 12 months of social media. All of it done, scheduled. You don't have to think about it anymore. And then day 4 is blogging. So we create blogs that create SEO for your website and bring people to your site. And then day 5 is your email marketing, your funnels. So really what we're doing there is we are just making sure that you have good email marketing presence that's already scheduled and already done, and you don't have to think about that either.
Brilliant. I like the fact that it's so integrated. So let's chat about that a bit further. What inspired you to craft absolute marketing, and how did you select those 5 pillars? Are they where small businesses are the weakest?
I think it's where small businesses think that, yeah, that's done. Like they think their brand is done when they have a logo, but really their brand is so much more than that. So what we try to do, and what I try to do with my clients, and even for myself, you think I got my logo, I got my colors, I'm done. But really it's the message and it's the mission and the vision that comes through in your messaging. And a lot of people, they just kind of leave it off after the logo. So we really make sure to get back to that. And then with the website, a lot of people's websites haven't been touched in years, or maybe they had someone do it who didn't really know what they were doing, and it can get a little bit muddy, and maybe somebody just isn't familiar with how their website works. And this can really give them that boost they need to understand their website more and get more out of it. I believe your website should be your 24-hour salesman, like it is for me. So I want other people to experience that as well, because there's some simple things you can do in all of the 5 days that make such a huge difference. So that's really where all of this came from. And the 5 pieces, every time I would work with a client or I would work on my own, marketing, I would see the same 5 things coming up. Is my brand cohesive? Is it on everything? Is my website really strong so that when someone comes to my website from a post or from an email, then they are seeing what they need to see in order to make a sale? And then, of course, social media, studies have actually shown, and this is true for me for sure, and for most of my clients, we spend like 20 hours a week on marketing. 20 hours a week. If you're already working 60-hour weeks, imagine if you could only work 40-hour weeks and still get the same amount of effort and maximize that. So I want to take that one day for social media and take out those 20 hours a week. And now you're freed up to spend time with your family, to do other things, to make better sales. You make more sales. So, these kind of things I just kept seeing come up for small business owners, for nonprofits, for myself. And I just kept seeing them come up. And I was like, this is the ultimate piece. Like if you have all these 5 pieces and you can get them all done really quickly and for the whole year, then you don't have to worry about it. And it's so freeing.
Mm. I really like your comment there about that unloved website. I mean, Google doesn't like that, does it? And when it
It's
crawls
true.
over. But, I go into some when I'm obviously doing some research before I talk to them. And it was 2012 since they did the last blog or something like that,
Right.
or when the Mayflower landed, that far. Look, you and me, we've both been in marketing for a while and we've both noticed the constant change. How do you stay ahead of those changes so you can help clients stay fresh in their marketing?
Well, I'm always looking for new tools because I believe that if you have the right tools, you can make pretty much anything happen. If you give me a hammer and some wood, I'm not going to build anything very sturdy or exciting. But if you give a carpenter a hammer and some wood, he's going to make a whole house or something awesome. So I feel like if, as a marketer or as a small business owner, if you have the right tool and you know how to use it, then it can really help you to hone your craft, to make your business better, make your life better. And so I'm always on the lookout for tools, and I like to streamline things. I like to make sure that things are batched, they're together, that we're not doing any extemporaneous tasks. And so I'm always looking for ways to streamline my own process. To when clients make suggestions to me, I'm like, okay, let's see if that can fit in with what we're doing. And then like I said, I'm always on the lookout for tools, and I vet the tools first. I want to be the one to be the guinea pig. Let me take all that, oh, that one wasn't a good one. I spent 10 hours working on it. No, away with you. So, and then when my clients come to me and ask for something, or they say, hey, we need this solution, I know exactly the right thing. So I am constantly out there looking for those things. And I also do a lot of continuing education myself because I feel like, coaches need coaches. I'm a business coach and I've used business coaches, and marketers need marketers. So I go to, seminars and webinars and things of other marketers that I look up to. And so, I'm always learning those things, always reading different marketing books and things like that. Right now, I'm actually reading this book right here, which I would recommend to everybody. It's a little bit interesting of a cover, but it's called Marketing Outrageously. And Marketing Outrageously, and it's actually was written several years ago, but it's really, really interesting, and there's a lot of very crazy things in it, and I'm kind of one of those people that I want to try the crazy stuff because really it's the only thing that works, and so I'm really enjoying this. But yeah, I always do that kind of stuff to kind of keep myself ahead of the curve.
I just want to know where they got that picture of me for the front of the
I
book. Yeah.
I know
Okay.
it's an interesting picture, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sure I wasn't posing. Listen, Elizabeth, across the world, many small businesses have been especially hurt by the COVID pandemic, and they're now struggling to recover. The cost of marketing may seem prohibitive to them, but we both know they need to do it. So how do you advise them to lessen what they think is that burden, but it's a necessary expense?
Well, it goes back to, are you giving up time? Are you giving up money? Or are you giving up effort in order to achieve a result? Sometimes multiples of those go into achieving a result. And what I want people to look at is, yes, when someone comes to me and they say, Elizabeth, or even any marketer, they're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. How much is it going to cost me? Their first question is, how much is it going to cost me? Of course, we want to be respectful of budgets, and we don't want to go into debt over unnecessary things. But when we look at it, we want to say, what is this going to save me? Not what is this going to cost me? And like I mentioned before, there's studies that have come out that have shown that, and recent ones that show that small businesses market 20 hours a week. If we can take off 10 of those hours, 15 of those hours, or even all 20 of those hours for your week, what are you saving because of that? Are you saving your sanity? Because that's usually me. Are you saving your marriage? Are you saving the fact that your kids are going to be like happy that you're around and you get to do things with them? Are you saving your physical health? Because we need to put focus on that as well. And so I really look at, that and say, well, what are we saving? And so I'm not looking so much at the cost, because the cost will recoup itself. That will come back. That will be, fine later on. But because when we do marketing, it means that we're actually getting sales. It means we're actually, finding clients that maybe weren't there before, we couldn't reach before. So it really is, what is the benefit of this? And what am I willing to do? A lot of small business owners or even mid-sized business owners, they're looking at their bottom lines, they're looking at their budgets, and it's all about what we can't do, like what we can't afford, what we have to muddle through with. And what they're not looking at is investment for long-term gain. And, when you kind of the whole thing, teaching a man to fish rather than just giving him the food, you're giving him something that he can use later on that's going to benefit him long term. And so that's one of the things that I do with my clients. I'm not here to say, let me do it for you. Off you go. Oh, you need help now? Sorry, it's more. I'm here to say, I want to teach you as much of this as you want to learn. I will show you every single thing I'm doing. I will make sure that you understand it. I want you to really embody this and say, I can do my social media next year. I have clients that come back to me every year because they like the accountability, they like the atmosphere, they like that we get to do it in a day, and they know that they're accountable in that way, and they like that, and they put the investment in that. But then there's other clients I've taught how to do social media in a day or whatnot of any of the 5 days, and they take it and they're like, I can do this, and they have this empowerment. And they're like, I didn't think I could do it, but I literally just did it. And now I understand that I can. And next year I'm going to do it myself, or next year I'm going to teach my intern, or next year, whatever. So now they have this experience that says, I can do this. They can actually go out and do it themselves. So really, I'm more about teaching people if they want to learn. And of course, if they want to come back to me next year, that's fine too. We have fun.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I totally with you on that concept. We use it a lot when we're helping people in hospitality or hotels. They say they're 50% full out of 100 bedrooms. So they've got 50 bedrooms that are empty. When they think about marketing, they only think about filling the 50 bedrooms they already are filling. Just think of what they could get by focusing upon the other 50. It's interesting. Like us, you're a great advocate of marketing automation. But I feel that many marketing agencies try to shroud this area almost in a Harry Potter mystery way, perhaps to allegedly enhance their fees. How do you go about making it simple for the small business to understand and remove these mysteries?
It's been my belief since day one that there's a guru syndrome that we've kind of created for ourselves. And it does shroud everything in mystery, and it makes it unreachable, unattainable. People try and do the whole Facebook ad thing. They try and do like the Google ad thing. Like they try all these different things that the gurus tell them should work, but they're not telling you the whole story, or they're not telling you the behind the scenes that actually got them to that spot. And so, I'm very much about transparency. I want to let people know, no, literally, this is all I'm doing. And what I do is not rocket science. I can teach this to anybody. I know that anybody can learn what I do, because you can break these things down into such simple forms that you don't have to know everything about marketing in order to have good marketing. And the other thing is, when I work on these formulas and I make these formulas for these days, and I was building them, I didn't want it to be complicated. I guess I want people to come work with me because that's how I feed my family. But at the same time, I don't want it to be something that they can never attain on their own. I teach classes on this all the time. I do free seminars through, our government agencies and things like that for small business. And people will take it and run with it. And I'm happy to see that, because they need to be able to use these things for their families. So, but I don't think that any of this is hard to do. I think if you know the right things, you know the right tools, like the formula and the tools, then you can achieve whatever it is that I'm achieving at the same time. So I also believe that there's a thing called algorithm-proof social media. Not many people do this. It's very, very new. I am coining it as I've been building all this stuff, because I don't think that the algorithms really apply to small business. And what we have to do is we have to operate as if they're not there. And we can operate that way. I operate that way, and I have great success with it. And a lot of my clients do that. And the reason we do that and the way we do that is by saying, hey, social media, I know Facebook tells me I should do X, Y, and Z. And Facebook says I have to post every single day or 3 times a day, or it's not worth it, and all these things. They have all these rules, right? They're really not rules. And like they said in Pirates of the Caribbean, they're more like guidelines, right? It's not really a rule. It's a guideline. So I don't follow the guidelines, because if I want to post once a day or once a week, I can still get benefit out of that, because my clients are getting benefit out of it. People who are potential clients will get benefit out of it. If Facebook doesn't want to show my post, another one's coming down around the corner tomorrow. Another one's coming around the corner in 2 days. And if I want to connect with the clients that are important to me, or the potential clients, I need to make sure I'm on the right platform and I'm posting the right stuff for them. Not the stuff that Facebook says I should be posting, not doing lives every 5 minutes if I don't want to, but being consistent and saying, hey, clients, hey, people, you need this from me and I'm presenting it to you. And just saying, hey, Facebook, I don't care what you do. You can show my stuff. You don't have to show my stuff. Doesn't matter, because the right people will see it at the right time. And that's all that I'm worried about, is being true in content and being true to myself and saying, this is what I'm presenting to you. It's honest. It's real. And the clients that see that, or the potential clients, they will pick up on that. And really, sales don't happen on social media. They happen on your website. So as long as you can get them to your website, then you're pretty good. So, but yeah, I throw the algorithm out when I talk about social media and when we work through it and the way we create it. And a lot of people say you shouldn't create, content that's scheduled out because the algorithms don't like it. Oh, wait, we're not using the algorithm, so it doesn't matter. So I really do throw that out. And that's something that helps it be more attainable for people who, instead of making it mysterious, it's not mysterious. We just don't even bother with it. Like, they can have their algorithm. We're not going to worry about it.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I love your integrity, but also I love your firebrand approach. Listen, talking about that, one area that I wanted to talk to you about is branding. I'm a firm believer in the power of a brand and protecting the reputation of that brand. Do you likewise believe that branding is important, and how do you encourage clients to see that importance?
It is the first day of my 5 days for that very reason. So I'm glad you brought that up. And when I work with someone, they might come to me and say, I want to do social media with you. I do 1 day at a time. You don't have to do all 5. Can do 1 at a time. And I might look at them and I say, you know what? I need to see your website first, because we kind of backtrack a little bit. Because if I put up a bunch of posts for you and they go to your website, we want to make sure it's a good website so it will convert, right? That's the whole point. So I look at their website. Not so great, right? Maybe not so good. And you know what main reason usually is? The brand. The colors are not cohesive. The brand may just be text that they had because they had no brand at all. They just had typed it in and it's on the website. And they're like, oh, that's my logo. They might have chosen a photograph or a picture or something that just doesn't mesh or doesn't look right, or maybe they can't. My whole thing is, if you have a logo, I think you should be able to embroider it on a hat. And if you can embroider it on a hat, even though you may never do that, that is like the purest form. If you're starting out, you just, you don't have anything yet, that's where you got to start with. And so I look at their brands, and if I think their brand is not strong enough to build a website on, because really your website's built upon your brand. And if I don't think their message is part of that, their message isn't really coming through clearly, got to go back to the brand for that. And if I don't want to give them and say, yeah, pay me for social media, pay me for website stuff. Oh, and by the way, we built all this stuff. You paid all this money and your brand was horrible. And we built it all on top of that. Now it's just going to topple over like a sandcastle. So I tell them, we got to start with your brand first. And most people who come to me for social media, they will end up doing branding, website, and then maybe we'll get to social media, because social media, I can teach them in a class. It can be very simple. You can do it really easily. But the other two, I recommend working with a professional, not because I need people to work with me, but because I had to work with a professional. Again, coaches need coaches, marketers need marketers. I could not see my brand for myself, even though I can see it. You walk in, I can see your brand and go, yeah, that's your brand. This is what we should do. X, Y, Z, done. I can see it for others because I'm outside of it. But when it's your own brand, it's so close to you and you're like, but no, it's my little baby. And you don't want to give up things within it and things like that. But someone from the outside can see and say, you know what, you got to let go of this. You got to add this. You got to take this away. You got to really tell what you're doing and tell your message and tell your story. So I worked with another marketer, another brander to do my brands in the beginning. I've since been able to kind of muddle through them recently, but it's a long journey. But I still believe you should work with a pro. So that's where you have to go back to that beginning place. And if you can get the brand right, everything else just domino effects right in. That's why it's our first day when I work with someone. And then we do the website, build that great foundation piece. Then we build the social media, then the blogging, then the email marketing. They all just domino effect down because the brand is so strong. So I'm glad you brought up branding, because it's paramount. If you don't get that piece right, you'll always wonder why your marketing isn't working. And it's probably not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your brand isn't right.
Yeah. It really is so true. And how many clients, we have a perfumer who talked about the other day, she's 30 years in the business and she can bring a new perfume out and everything. And just because she's got her brand name on, it sells.
Yeah.
At a high
price.
Yep,
it's so true.
Yeah. Okay. Today's sensible businesses are seeing marketing as less of an art and more than a science. In other words, its results can be measured and a return on cost be qualified. So how do you go about helping clients measure their results, which after all justifies their marketing spend?
A lot of what I do comes down to consistency. So when I look at this, I'm not looking at it to say you're going to get X amount of clients, you're going to get, I can't guarantee any of that. That has to do with the person and them running their business. So when I look at it, I'm saying, can we make you consistent with your social media every single day? Can we have you sending out emails on a regular basis? And a lot of these people are not doing that. So what my system does is it really gives you that underlying layer so that you can start to measure. We had 5 clients and they came from emails. You can ask those questions. Where did you hear about us? How did you see this information? And they can have that consistent email marketing going out, that have that consistent blog, have the consistent social media, and have a really solid brand and website. So I'm not measuring it, but I'm trying to encourage them and showing them some tools and tricks on how to measure it once it's done, once all that's in place. Because next year, maybe they say, we need to do our social again, our blogs again, and our email again. But instead, maybe the email wasn't getting them as much, but the social media blew up. And maybe they want to spend 2 days on social media. They really want to get more posts in. They want to do more with graphics, more with video. And so now we don't need the email day maybe, but we need the blogging and 2 social media days. So it really gives them a sense of what is working and what's not. And so after 6 months, after 3 months, you can look at those numbers and see that. And I track this, there's not any fancy way of tracking it. I actually usually set people up with spreadsheets because that's the simplest form. Everybody understands a spreadsheet most of the time. And sometimes the other programs that track all that stuff, it gets a little confusing. So we just do it really simply. And again, I'm bringing everything down to a level that's simple. We don't have to make this complicated. We're building all this stuff. It sounds really, like, wow, that's a lot of work or that's a lot of stuff. But really, I'm bringing everything down to simplicity. So when they track stuff, it's like if you get a phone call, if you're on a Zoom call with someone, how did you hear about us? It should be part of your daily routine, part of your closing, your opening, whatever you want to put it. But just as if you need to know their name, you need to know where they heard about you. And that way you can start tracking it. And then you can next year or next month or 6 months, whatever, put more effort into those things that are really showing you the results. That might change over time. That might change over 6 months, over a year, over 2 years. I've seen it change for me, definitely. I used to get a ton out of social media. I used to get a ton out of networking. Obviously, we can't do that right now. My networking has become podcasting. So things have shifted in different ways for me over the years. And it definitely happens with clients as well. So as long as you're tracking it in some way, even a spreadsheet, simple as that, and you're asking that question, you're getting people to fill it in on a form and whatnot, then you're going to see where your effort should go. And then you want to double down on those efforts.
Brilliant. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, just before we move on, you can see behind me there, Elizabeth's URL. You can see how good she is, how she full of integrity is, and she works virtually all over the world. So, Elizabeth, last question. I like to give all my guests 3 wishes. Hey, you're near Disney World, aren't you? So
yes,
yeah. Here's my 3 Disney wishes. Elizabeth, if I was to give you 3 wishes as to how small businesses could understand how to improve and make more effective their marketing, more effective, I said, what would those 3 wishes be?
Well, I would wish that they would give their brand that focus it needs, even just for one day. Give it that focus. If your brand could just resonate so deeply and so connectedly with people that you are trying to connect with, you're trying to reach out to, you're trying to help, then could that change your business? It could change your business. It could change your life. So if you can give your brand one day, that would be my wish. Give your brand one whole day and just really think about it, focus on it. Even if your brand might be perfect, but still give it that time, give it that attention. That would be my first wish. The second wish would be that you get that website like perfect, like poppin', make it just amazing. Make it when people go there, they feel like they're at home. They feel like you understand them. They feel like you are just guiding them along. And that's really what I want to see when I go to a website. I want to see, I want you to guide me. I want you to tell me what I don't know. I want you to understand where I am and how frustrated I might be with whatever it is I need help with. And so that would be my second wish, is to get that website so that it feels like home to a customer or client, potential client. And then the third one would be that if you can, spend a day on your social media and write out as many posts as you can and put them into a scheduler and give yourself that break. Yes, it's going to be a really long day of hard work, but then you can give yourself that break. I want you to take that break. Maybe go off social media for 2 weeks because it's already running, right? Give yourself a break, but do it really quickly first. Get all that stuff out, and then take some time and take a breather.
Elizabeth Pampalone of Beyond the Cause. When I started this interview, I did say that we sought guests that have something that will inspire people, help them, improve them. You've gone beyond that. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate that we've had this awesome conversation.